Hey YouTube. Well, I'm here to talk about the assassination of Gianni Versace. This is part 8. I don't know why. I apologize for last week. I said that this was the finale, but it's not. The finale is next week. So this week, what we got is we got a little piece of Versace. I don't know why they didn't just be honest and name this thing "The Making of a Monster" or something like that, because this story is all about Andrew Caldwell. I mean, Andrew. Not that Andrew. Andrew Cunanan. So now we're going all the way back. So we start off with a little bit of Versace. So Versace's mother is a dressmaker. She's got a big studio in Manila. I think they're in 1957. So her son watches her around the workroom. She's got a big studio. I guess she would be considered a very successful woman, particularly for that time. But she's a dressmaker. She recognizes his interests and she encourages him. One of the main things about his mother is she teaches him the ethic or work ethic. This is the one thing that Andrew Cunanan lacked. Andrew Cunanan, the Making of a Monster would be very, very apropos for this series. Anyway, as far as Versace goes, they didn't show a father, so I assumed his mother was a single mother then. I don't know if they lived in her dress shop or not, but it's a big space, 2-story space, in I think they're in Italy. They are in Italy somewhere. Okay. Okay, he goes to school, and of course he's like all of us were. I don't know. I wasn't teased that much. Well, as a little kid, sure, I had a couple of bullies, but with most gay people, they experience that being teased. People identify you a little different. So they show him going to school, trying to do the work. He's sketching in class, which is great. We see that his passion ran deep. I think he's about 10, 12 years old, and his teacher comes and catches him sketching in class, tears up his sketches, of course, and she asks him if he's a pervert. One of the kids say, no, a sissy or something like that. So people already are aware that he's a little different. He comes home to his mother, and his mother basically says, fuck those people, let's get to work. So she trains him. This is where Versace learned how to draw, how to sew. It came from his mother. It was passed down from his mother. In contrast to that, we jump over to 1980. Remember, this Cunanan dude is much younger than Versace, so he's about that age in 1980. Okay, let's see what happened. When they open up, they show Andrew's family living in poverty in San Diego. In this house, a little better than shack. It looks like one of those 1-2-room houses. He's got one brother and 2 sisters. They're all 3 older than him, and the father basically ignores the older siblings. He dotes on Andrew. This is this unhealthy relationship he has with Andrew. When they moved from this horrible shack they were living in, they moved to this big, beautiful house, right? The father says, basically, this is so Andrew would be in the school district of the best private school in California. Or so he says, certainly the best in San Diego area. Okay, so the big thing here is they want to emphasize how Andrew got this elevated opinion of himself. The father, when they move into this brand new house, this big stucco house, nice home, they give Andrew the master bedroom, which is huge. The parents live in one of the small bedrooms, and all the other kids, those teenagers, they all packed on top of each other in another small room. Andrew's living like a king. His father dotes on him like he is royalty, right? So some of Andrew's stories, remember he used to tell all these stories, my father was a stockbroker and all that, and we thought we packaged it all together. I'm sure a lot of you did. That he was making it all up. He was a liar. Everything was a lie. But there are some things that actually happened that are mixed in with his lies. So he exaggerated a lot of these things. But his father actually was a stockbroker. He was a shyster. Now his father was crooked. And we will get to that in a minute here, how crooked he was. It ends up in disaster. But for the moment, they moved into this big, beautiful home. His father gets a job with Merrill Lynch, based basically on his tongue. He has the gift of gab, and he's talked his way into Merrill Lynch, which is huge brokerage, right? Probably one of the biggest in the United States. Okay. So the father treats when they move, the mother and the other siblings do all the work. In other words, Andrew just goes to his big master bedroom and relaxes while the rest of the family slaves on getting this house together and getting all this stuff unpacked and doing all the work. Andrew's not required to do any work because of this idea that his father is trying to create. I don't know. I wouldn't say in his image. He wants Andrew to have a better life, but he has an unnatural preference for this one child. He treats the other ones like slaves, and he's a wife abuser as well. There are several scenes in this episode where he's pushing his wife, choking her out. She has got mental issues, so she's a little crazy. We met her a few episodes back, but we see that their relationship was very abusive. There's not much love between them. I think this man is so obsessed with America, right? He's out there. They show him raising the American flag in front of his house and all that. I believe this man wanted a white wife. I know people don't like you to say stuff like that, but it seems to me that he wanted to be American. And he saw that Andrew, who was mixed. So basically all this woman was all he really wanted her for was to have babies. It's not clear why he ignores his other children, but okay, we already established that. He loves Andrew. An obsession. They only bought the house in that neighborhood so he can go to their school. And first, it's kind of hard to get into the school. You have to do certain things, but this is Andrew's, maybe his one big success was getting accepted into this school, right? Whatever is required of a 16-year-old boy, you know. Anyway, okay. Okay, I put on here on my notes that his father has a backward sense of success. Emphasis not on hard work, but on image and positive thinking. All right, so this is where this boy got all twisted up in his mind. This father of his, he's all into this image thing, right? He has all of these fancy suits in it, and he teaches Andrew. They dress together, how to dress the part. There's not much talk here about work. There's much talk on image, on learning how to influence people. He's got all these books where he teaches Andrew privately in this huge bedroom. He goes in and gives him different books to read, to study about how to look impressive, how to be American. That's basically it, right? But unlike Versace, the work ethic is not there. I mean, he just knows his father's a stockbroker, and that's it. It's not like he's training him to do anything. He's just teaching him that he's a king, and he's special, and he's better than everyone else. And he keeps telling him, you're special. You're not like them. So it's almost like a Cinderella story, right? As far as the other kids being Cinderella. All right. Okay. All right, so this story is largely about Andrew and his father. This is more a story of his father than anything else, right? His father is basically a thief and a con man. he gets to Merrill Lynch. You know, he fakes like he's making all these big deals and things, but what he's actually doing are ripping people off, selling people stocks that don't exist. So there's a scene where, well, they jump ahead a few years, right? So apparently we don't see the transition from being fired from Merrill Lynch, but he eventually loses the job at Merrill Lynch, and he's working for this shithouse stock brokerage, right? Low-end stock brokerage. And what he's doing is selling old people who are, you know, out of their minds, gets their numbers. He sells them stocks that don't exist. And this guy, he comes in while his mother, who is 90-something years old, listening to this sales pitch from this guy, trying to get her bank information. And the guy says, I'm going to search you out. And that is key in this episode. Guy says, I'm going to find who you are. Do you know that when you steal her money, she doesn't have heat for her house? So he takes advantage of old people, right? And this father, this guy, the son of this old lady, actually goes to the FBI, right? He goes to the FBI. Let me not get ahead of the story. Next thing happens is Andrew gets his brand new car. It looks like a Datsun or something, but it's a brand new car. He can't even drive. He's not even of an age to drive. Now this man has got 3 teenage children who are of an age to drive, but no, he buys Andrew a car before he can drive. Right? So it's emphasizing again how much he dotes on Andrew. Andrew, you're the king, you're special, you know, you're somebody. But he has got no. Let me get to it when I get to it. Okay, his father. This whole thing about Andrew being special. He's always got to be special. He has the master bedroom. He's got his own car before he can drive. He goes to this special, expensive school. It's all about Andrew, right? And pumping into him that he is not like everyone else and he is special. It's not clear that the father even they don't broach the sexuality at all. Remember, Andrew was a gay kid now, and he's even seeing an older man when he's in this special school. So this school, I guess this school is like a middle school. I'm not clear. Yeah, it's got to be a middle school. It's not like a college. Anyway, but they don't get to the fact that Andrew is gay until way into this thing at the very end. Father ends up. This older man that Andrew is seeing. Andrew goes out on a date with this man, right? He sneaks out of the house. He has on a red leather suit. And he wants to take this man to this, like a frat party. It's in a nice house, somebody's house, somebody's out of town, whatever. And the man said, I'm not going in there. No, this is a secret. I have a wife and children. So the man refuses to go to this young people thing as Andrew's date. Andrew wants to force him out. He's got this thing about always forcing people out. Now, as to how much he's out to his family, I doubt it. Even though they don't talk about it in here. Next thing happen is, this is where he met Lindsay. So this girl, Lindsay, is older than him, right? She is in charge of this house they're having this party in. And she has her own home and her own husband and children, I believe. She was a housewife. But she liked hanging out with young people. That's why she allowed this fancy party there. So this is Andrew's. He only had 2 friends, as far as I can tell, period. And that would be Jeff, who he ends up murdering, and this girl. So fortunately, the girl didn't get murdered. Everybody else he knew did. All right. This is where he meets her at. They form a friendship. Okay, then we start picking up some speed here. So the father he knows that these people are going to come after him eventually, right? Because he knows he's stealing. He is a thief. Now he goes into the office of this little brokerage not fancy at all. Goes and the management wants to see him, and they confront him about this guy, the guy I told you about who had this 90-something-year-old mother being ripped off. He contacted the brokerage first, and they pull him in and asking him why you have so many different jobs. So we didn't know that part, but he's going from job to job to job because he's a thief, a con man. He tells them that they tell him that they are cooperating with the FBI. All right, in the next scene, the FBI has come to the office. He's coming back to the office again. They didn't fire him right out, but he said he's under investigation. So he comes into the office one morning, and one of the ladies there likes him. She whispers in his ear that people are there looking for him. He goes to his desk. He panics. He starts trying to shred shit. Although he looked like he only shredded a few documents because he's got to get out of there because the FBI are at the front door. He climbs out of a window or something in the back of the building and gets away. He goes and back to his home and clears the house out. He's got money hidden there. He's got a bag of money. And he's already sold the house from under them, so he knew this was going to happen. He didn't tell anybody in his family. Him and his wife barely have a relationship at all. She's more like his servant. And he clears the bank accounts, sells the house, and takes all this cash that he got, and he's on the run. As he's coming out of the house, the FBI are at the front door when he comes downstairs, right? So they're right on his heels. He sneaks out the back door again and gets away. I guess he goes up a level and then out on the patio, and he's able to avoid the FBI. He spots Andrew pulling up into the front of the house, and he takes Andrew's car. Tells him don't believe what they say. So now this man is gone. So he ends up getting on a plane and going to the Philippines, where he's from, Manila. Right. Did they confront? Let me see. All right, so the mother tells Andrew that your father has left us. He's taken everything. This house does not belong to us anymore. We have to move. We have absolutely nothing. Right? Of course, Andrew is devastated because he's always had everything taken care of for him. He's been a spoiled child in the extreme. In the extreme, he's been spoiled. And now there's nothing. The father's taken off. Didn't even leave the money to survive on. So Andrew goes on a mission. He's going to find his father in Manila. Andrew gets on a plane. He goes to Manila. Everything, of course, is very poor. He finds his father's brother's house. And the brother said, yes, the father is there on the property. So his father is living in a shack behind this man's house. The house ain't wonderful either. You know, they're in Manila. There's no roads. They show us that, you know, they're walking in mud. But they find his father. He's in this tore up little house in the back of this other man's house. He's happy to see Andrew. Of course, this is one love of his life is his own boy. Explains to him how his mother was so crazy when he was a baby that he acted as both his mother and his father. So they were very close. Andrew confronts the man, and the man tells him, well, I have millions hidden. So Andrew starts smiling. So it's all about the money. It really is about the money between these two. Andrew wants to be taken care of. He expects to be taken care of. Father said, yes, there's millions hidden away where it can't be found. So Andrew says, where is the money? He wants the money. You know, he don't want to be homeless when he gets back to the States. And he finally confronts his father. He said, there's no money, is there? And the father tells him no. Although I don't know why there's no money. He's just sold their house. He took a bag full of cash. So the father's keeping all the money for himself. He's not sending the family a shataka, which is surprising to me because he's always looked out for Andrew if no one else. It surprises me that he don't want to let him in on the deal or move him there with him or something. But he just cuts him off. So they have a fight. The man finally calls the boy sissy boy because Andrew starts crying because there's no money. And spits in the boy's face. Of course, the boy roars up in his face, and the man slaps the shit out of him. Spits in his face again, tells him he's trash to me. You're nothing but a sissy boy. You're not strong. You're weak like your mother. All right. So he leaves the father. Yeah. He leaves Manila after they have their fallout, and comes back. The house is being emptied. The mother is moving out of the house. The movers are there. And last thing we see is Andrew coming into that pharmacy where he gets his job. I don't know if I love or hate this way they tell these stories, forward and backward, backward and forward. Because now we're back at where he had the job in the pharmacy. We already knew that. But they're showing us how that happened or how he came to work there. And that is pretty much where they leave it. All right. The next episode is the finale next week. And looks like they're going to be showing his arrest or his attempted the search for Andrew, where he blows his own brains out. Okay, that's it. See you next week, people.